Now, Cookie, let's go through the grid because the cars are making their way down Conrod Straight right now. As we mentioned, Bryce Forward will start from pole position. Tony Evangelou in the Ford Falcon in second. So you've got the Holden versus Ford battle back in the mountain once again. Joshua Smith in third. Terry Wyhoon in fourth. Stephen Lacey in fifth. Jim Policina in sixth. Then we have Warren Millett in seventh. Then we have Rick Newman in eighth. Chris Tunner in ninth. Martin Miller rounding out the top 10. Paul Boschett in 11th. Ian McAllister in 12th. Ashley Brighton 13th. Then we have Stephen Coe, Stuart Inwood, Stephen Burridge, Hamish Hardman, Bruce Henley, Stephen Thompson, Rod Seven, Glenn Melling, Edward Kramer. Then we have Stenter, Gritch Cumbo, Lloyd, Jobs, Thomas, Savage, Kent, Manson, McBrien, Miller, Begg, Henley, McDougall, Burns, Haddo, Mayfield, Smith, Begg, Truen, Varanus, Harricks, Bethune, Anthony, Douglas, Woodcroft, Spiteri, Haynes and Hay, and Richard Gresham and George Michelle making the massive 52-car field.
And let's see how they go as they come round Murray's corner on underneath the Liquimoli Bridge and start race number 3 for the Riverwalk Constructions Combined Sedans. It is Bryce Forward and Tony Evangelou on the front row, and it is no surprises job. Bryce Forward, who gets the lead going through Virgin Australia corner, but it looks like Josh Smith might have gotten past Tony Evangelou.
Yeah, we've had a change for second position for the first time all weekend. That is Josh Smith up the inside of Tony Evangelou, pushing him back into third position. And here comes Stephen Lacey as well. Lacey's past Evangelou and Wyhoon, so he's making a charge up the hill in that massive horsepower Chevrolet Camaro as they go through turn 2 for the first time. But it is Bryce Forward all the way out in front at the moment.
We've been waiting for Stephen Lacey in this Camaro, such a commanding lead in last year's races, and have been wondering what's happened to him this weekend. Well, now we're starting to see that form from last year come in, but he is starting to get pressured, Stephen Lacey.
Yeah, he is, certainly, and the Camaro won't be quick over the top as what the V8 supercars are at the moment, but Bryce Forward already about a 6 or 7 car length lead as they come through Reed Park, back to Joshua Smith, and then of course we mentioned just a second ago Stephen Lacey in third, Tony Evangelou in fourth. Terry Wyhoon misses the apex there at McPhillamy, runs a little bit wide over the Ripple Strip but continues on, and then we have a great battle back in the field between the car of Chris Tunner in the Corvette, and I think that's Paul Boschett in the other Corvette as well. So those two guys nose to tail, and I'm pretty sure they're the first chassis cars.
When had a chat to this guy.
Evangelou runs very, very wide through Bentley, goes up the inside of Lacey. They're going to run side by side. The Camaro Sports Sedan versus the Ford Falcon V8 Supercar, and Terry Wyhoon wants a piece of this as well. But Stephen Lacey's going to have too much power down the straight, and he's going to pull right up the side of Evangelou. Looks over, gives him the thumbs up, probably not, and heads back down in the Caltex chase. But who's going to be the brave one on the braking now? Terry Wyhoon has a look at Evangelou as well. Evangelou's going to duck to the inside. Stephen Lacey very, very defensive, and Tony Evangelou will not be able to get past Lacey there again, but a massive move down in the Bentley Forest Elbow.
Now, another thing we need to look out for is Stuart Inwood, the local bloke. He said he was very confident to be making into the top 10 in race 2, but unfortunately, because of the yellow flag...
Oh, Lacey runs wide at Murray's Maguire corner and picks up the dirt. He loses 2 positions. A little bit too much pressure there on Lacey, and he breaks a little bit late, misses the apex, runs wide, and that allows Tony Evangelou to run back up in the 3rd position, and Terry Wyhoon 1 step off the podium for the first time this weekend.
Bryce Forward with a 1.4 second gap over Joshua Smith. Great start from Joshua Smith. Tony Evangelou, who got shuffled back into 3rd and is now going to be battling with Terry Wyhoon and Stephen Lacey. I think these are the 3 cars that are going to put on the race this afternoon.
Yeah, definitely. Well, this is how it works. Stephen Lacey's got the power in a straight line, but the supercars are better under brakes and over the top of the mountain. So I think over a course of a lap, that's going to even out quite nicely.
So it's going to be very interesting racing from these 3 cars. On screen at the moment, Ian McAllister's Mustang.
Geez, out of Audi cutting, Cookie. Sorry to cut you off there, but there would have been 1 layer of paint between Terry Wyhoon and the wall. He is absolutely pushing as hard as he can over the top.
Now on the screen at the moment, so Bryce Forward and then Joshua Smith. I believe that's Joshua Smith, and then here's the battle with Tony Evangelou, Terry Wyhoon and Stephen Lacey. All three drivers, seasoned campaigners across multiple cars, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Terry Wyhoon, probably one of the most experienced drivers in the field, and probably here all this weekend as we have one of the BMW E36s with an issue.
I didn't even get a number there.
No, but the thumbs are up, the gloves are off, so he's all right.
Okay, so Bryce forward, 1.4 second gap from Josh Smith, and we've got the gaggle of cars, Tony Evangelou, Terry Wyhoon and Stephen Lacey. Stephen Lacey's dropped off this battle just a little bit, Tez.
Yeah, he may have an issue. Maybe something may have been a steering arm or something when he went wide at Murray's corner, and that car may not be handling the best it could be because he did lose all the time over the top. Tony Evangelou, though, very, very defensive down at Celtic's Chase. I think he thought Terry Wyhoon was a little bit closer to him than what he was. Wyhoon's going to have a bit of a crack at him here at Maguire's Murray's corner. Evangelou goes on the defensive. Terry Wyhoon doesn't decide to go up the inside. Instead, he takes his normal apex and gets a great run out of the corner. Here they go, side by side along Liquid Molly Straight. They're going to go in the Virgin Australia corner, side by side. It's the BF Falcon versus the FG, and it's Wyhoon up the inside, but Evangelou won't give him any room at all. He muscles him out to the outside, but Terry Wyhoon, great move from the experienced driver, and now he gets up into third position.
He got a great run out of Maguire's Murray's corner heading up the Liquimoli pit straight, but let's see what happens as they head up to Griffin's Bend. Is Terry Wyhoon going to be defensive? No, sticks to the racing line. Tony Evangelou just sticking in behind. A little bit wide over the ripple strip, but a lot of cars tend to use that ripple, all of that ripple strip.
Yeah, they do. It's where you want to be, really. You want to use all the road there so you can get on the throttle as early as you can and get a run up to the cutting, because it's a very, very important part of the circuit. Terry Wyhoon with a bit of a slide there through the right-hander after Audi cutting. These two aren't using, they're not letting anything down, are they? They're absolutely flat out, these two at the moment, but Bryce forward still out in the lead by a good 3 seconds over Joshua Smith. But Wyhoon and Evangelou at the moment using all the roads, sideways, ripple strips, wheels in the air, 110% driving at the moment. And oh no, there's Woody in the 1975 Peter Brock replica Tirana.
Beautifully turned out, that car.
Yeah,
although it's
bit of a fire.
Yeah, it's getting the paint job's getting a little bit blackened at the moment.
Yeah, so that would just be a little bit of overfuel. I'm guessing the car's off and still pumping fuel through the system where it's coming out the exhaust, and that's where the fire is. So hopefully that fire extinguishes itself, which it doesn't. Oh no, he started the car back up, spins the wheels, and that's down at Virgin Australia corner, turn 1. So
back onto the circuit.
Woody Woodcroft.
Very quickly, the BMW that we saw before was actually the BMW of Peter Burns. And we've got a replay going on. Yeah, here's what happened to Stephen Lacey. Right out into the weeds. Lost a lot of pace, trying to keep that car on the road.
So that's what's happened to Michael Woodcroft. He's just lost it on the brakes, gone sideways. The car's dug in on the inside of the grass, on the inside of the ripple strip there at turn 1. And I'll tell you what, Woody comes from a bit of an interesting background. He actually raced in the Australian Superbike Championship and has ridden at the Isle of Man. So he loves his cars and his bikes. He's a little bit of a loose nut. And he's here having a great time at Bathurst.
Ian McAllister from Young, a car dealer in that beautifully turned out Mustang. How nice is that car?
Yeah, it is a fantastic looking vehicle, and if you have time, you should go down there and have a look. But have a look at this, Ashley Bright up the inside in the XV8 Supercar, but he runs wide. He's going to go through the grass, and that's going to allow McAllister to get back past him, and Stephen Coe as well. That's the actual car that Aaron Russell ran. The Go-Karts Go-Kart when they first started driving the development series, but it's not a V8 Supercar anymore. It's still got the same V8 Supercar chassis, but he actually bought the car as a shell, and he's put an LS1 and a 6-speed sequential gearbox in it, so it's a little bit different to a V8 Supercar.
I know exactly what you're talking about, Tez.
You know you don't.
No.
At least you try though, Cookie.
I'm trying. I am trying. Bryce Forward has done a 210.
He has.
Around Mount Panorama. That is fast.
That is
a 210.38. And when I went and spoke to the team during the break, I said, so does he want to go faster? I'm like, yeah, a little bit. That was the response. Yeah, a little bit.
Good battle here, Cookie, between Warren Millett and Rick Newman. And that thing of Rick Newman's has actually got a NASCAR motor in it. It's a very, very cool machine. Sounds fantastic. And that was actually ran at the Time Attack. World Time Attack. Oh, he's gone straight ahead. A little bit too much pressure there from Warren Millett. He's gone straight ahead of Coates IRS's through the where there used to be a sand trap. Luckily there isn't a sand trap there now, because that would have caused a bit of chaos. And have a look who's up the back of Warren Miller as well. Stuart Inwood, the local boy. If you're a local here and you love your local drivers, then make sure you cheer Stuart Inwood on, because he's going to need as much support as he can get in these next 6 or 7 rounds.
Yeah, proudly supported by local business Rise Against Smash Repairs as well. So Stuart Inwood, he, as I explained before, he was hoping to get out into the top 10 in race 2, but unfortunately the yellow flags and the end to that race, yeah, that didn't happen. But he was confident that he was going to have the speed to make it into the top 10, and he's currently running around in 9th at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see if he can get past Warren Millett, Rick Newman, and maybe even Jim Policina.
Yeah, well, let's not forget that Stuart did start from the front row of the grid in qualifying for race 1, didn't he? But,
yeah.
Excuse me, but had issues and had to retire from the race. So that's why his weekend's been marred. Here we go now. Warren Millett has the run on Rick Newman as they make their way up the front straight. If you've ever wanted to know how a NASCAR will go against the V8 supercar, then this will give you a bit of an idea, as the Falcon does run a NASCAR motor.
And of course, I think Stuart Inwood, he's got we mentioned this before, Richard Childress racing engine in that car.
That's exactly right. One of the Trans Am cars that they originally used in the States.
Of course, he picked that car up in New Zealand. And there the guys from the Lamborghini New Zealand team that is just underneath our commentary box. A few of those guys were actually helping Stuart Inwood when he was over in New Zealand.
Oh, there you go.
So there's a bit of a connection there.
It's good to have connections in motorsport, Cookie. It's oh, we got a spinner down here. Ashley Bright loses it at Murray's Corner. You can't see it on the screen, but we can see it from our vantage point here at Maguire's Murray's Corner.
There
and there
it
he is on cue. Smokes the tyres out. The crowd love it. It's a little bit like some of that's down there at the moment. Away he goes off into the distance once again.
I think he did that on his own as well.
Possibly.
Let's find out.
He did. Lock the rears on the entry, and that's all it takes.
Not the first, and definitely won't be the last.
No. Poor old Bruce Henley would have had
the heart rate up just a little bit.
On the heart. There for a minute.
But
nice little flick down. I reckon he's done that in his backyard a few times.
I'd say so.
Definitely.
Depends on how big the backyard is. Bryce Forward in front. We're not hearing a lot from Bryce Forward because, well, he's way out in front. But the battle is actually on between Stephen Lacey, Jim Policina and Tony Evangelou. Stephen Lacey has actually gotten past Tony Evangelou on this lap.
Sorry, Cookie, as we're watching Ashley Bright spin, Stephen Lacey's made the move past the Falcon somewhere, and I'm guessing it would have been down our Conrod Straight.
Yeah, well, of course, Stephen Lacey, I think, was one of only 1 or 2 cars in the support categories last year to go exceed 300 kilometres per hour down Conrod Straight. So this thing has got some amazing straight line speed.
Yeah, it definitely does. And we're going to see it right now, because guess who's about to go on the outside of Terry Wyhoon in the Chevrolet Camaro? No, he doesn't. He pulls out because we had a Mini there. Lachlan O'Brien.
And there's a Tirana there as well, and there's a Commodore a little bit further up. So he's going to have to tuck in behind Terry Wyhoon for the moment as they head up into Griffin's Bend, heading towards, the Audi cutting, the 83 car. I hope he saw him. That's Michael Miller.
Yeah, Michael Miller there just getting lapped. He's currently down in 27th position, but Terry Wyhoon went to go left, Stephen Lacey went to go right, and in the end they both went left.
Yeah, which is probably not something you want to see when you're going a good 10, 15, 20 kilometres per hour faster than the guy in front of you.
No, that's exactly right. So Tony Evangelou's dropped off a little bit here. I'm not too sure why, but we'll have to keep an eye on that, whether he has a developing issue or not. Just saw the car of Charlie Jobs, on the inside of Reed Park as well. So he's obviously had issues and can't get that car going again. And here we go in the more lap traffic. So Terry Wyhoon gets a little bit held up by Carl Begg in the BMW, but Carl does a great job in that, getting out of the way. He actually competed in the Bathurst 12-hour a couple of years ago with Anthony Gilbertson and Jason Clements in a BMW, you know, the N3 GTR. The really cool white.
Oh, yes, yeah, that one. Is that what this is? Oh, that's very tight. Through the spares box dip up.
Big move from Josh Smith, and I think that was on Vince Denter in the Nissan Skyline R32 GTR. Vince is another driver who's competed in the Bathurst 12 hour before as well.
Bryce Forward has actually eased off the throttle a little bit. He was doing 2:10s as a fast lap. He's now back to 2:13s and 2:14s. He's got an 8.8 second gap. Joshua Smith has come round in second. It's now 11.6 seconds. And Terry Waihoon another 3.2 seconds back. And, of course, Stephen Lacey right on the rear end of Terry Waihoon. As we go down a little bit further, Tony Evangelou is down in fifth place.
Oh, Warren Mellett with a massive off right in front of Stuart Inwood.
And that's going to benefit Stuart Inwood as well. I wonder if anything, if he did that on his own. We'll find... I'm sure we'll find out very soon, actually. Rick Newman, so Jim Policina is...
oh, geez, Warren, look out, there's a concrete wall there. That's the one that Jared McLeod hit last year.
You know about that wall?
I do.
You came very close to that.
I did. Avoiding some
look at this. Brake lock up.
Yeah, just outbroke himself a little bit there, Cookie. And what happens there is you try and modulate the brake pedal because you don't want to jump on it and lock your tyres and destroy them. And of course, the V8 supercars don't have ABS, so you have to do a manual type style of ABS by modulating the brake pedal and trying to pull the car up as quick as you can. And he's done a good job, but when he hit the grass, that's when she all went pear-shaped.
Would they be running slicks or radial tyres?
Slicks, yeah, okay. Definitely 100% slicks. So these will be the same tyres that they run in the V8 supercar series. Probably older tyres. There'll be some guys with brand new tyres, some guys with older tyres. Just depending on budgets and things like that, Cookie.
Use the hashtag B12HR if you're, I don't know, have a question for Tez or just enjoy watching the racing.
Big crowd up the top, Cookie. I went up there during the lunch break, and there's some very enthusiastic people up there enjoying their motorsport, which is great. Oh, look at these clouds that are starting to roll into Mount Panorama. And the weatherman picked it. He said that we would possibly see some rain early evening. But whether early evening will be around the top 10 shootouts, another question.
Well, early evening, I would say early evening would be around 5:30, 6 o'clock, and the top 10 shootout is actually going to be a lot earlier than that. So, bit of cloud cover maybe might even produce slightly faster times in their top 10 shootout. We don't know. On Twitter, Alex has said currently 3:26 a.m. and I'm keeping myself awake to watch the top 10 shootout. Need to be prepared for tomorrow night and the 12 hours. He's going hard.
So replay of Rick Newman over the top of the mountain. Oh, that's a late decision to go left. So through the Coates Hire S's, Rick Newman has outbroken himself over the skyline and right at the last minute has decided to turn left instead of negotiating the corner and has gotten four wheels airborne over that ripple strip and landed on the newly paved surface, or newly paved probably in the last 6-7 years, where there used to be a sand trap there. So it's the second time Rick's done that this weekend and in this race, so lucky to get away with that.
It certainly makes life a lot easier that that area is paved and no longer a sand trap, because the amount of muck that would get thrown out across the Coates S's before was just terrible, wasn't it?
It certainly was. Look at Bryce Forward. He is so smooth in that car at the moment. He's not putting a foot wrong. You under brakes, he's nice and smooth. You don't see the car wiggling around at all. And out of the corner as well. Nice and slow with the throttle pickup. Nice and smooth with his turning, doing everything in one turn instead of having hacks at it that you see some drivers do. Very, very smooth and very, very fast is this young guy.
When your steering is very smooth like that as well, it means the car's very nicely set up. It's just one smooth move rather than, as you mentioned, hacks at it. It means that you've got the car dialed in perfectly.
Exactly. Well, I mean, I guess the philosophy I use with my racing is the straighter the car is, the quicker you're going, and with the less you're turning the steering, the straighter the car is. So it all kind of makes sense. It's just a matter of putting all that theory into practice. We're looking at Josh Smith now as well, who's again driven a very, very good race and doing everything he can to try and stay as close to he can to Bryce Forward, but Forward's gone. He's 14.4 seconds up the road.
And he's actually turned it up again a little bit. He's doing did a 2:11.8 last time around.
Yeah, well, that's doing some really, really competitive times. Oh, we got Coe, who's just driven into the sand trap at turn 1. And
Virgin Australia corner, yes.
He's got a pop tyre on the right rear. So
that's what's happened.
Yeah.
So he didn't have a huge amount of choice as to where he was going to go with that issue.
No.
let's just hold our breath. We still have green flags at the moment. We did have 2 laps to go in this race, and we still do at this stage. I wonder if it'll just be localised yellows there, or if we're going to see the safety car.
With 2 to go, I would dare say that they'll probably just put some yellows out, and the crew, well, the team, the drivers then will slow down and take care of that, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Well, according to our monitors, we've still got green flag conditions out there, so hopefully we'll see the full 10 laps.
McAllister nearly touching up the side of that VE Commodore. They're currently coming through McPhilby Park at the moment.
Go for another replay. Let's see what happened. Yeah, just do you think the tyre would have let go under braking going into Virgin Australia corner?
I reckon that he's lost it.
Yeah.
And then as he's spun around, he's hit that ripple strip and it's taken the tyre off. That's what I think would have happened. But Cookie, I've been wrong before.
As have I.
So here we go. Here's another replay, and we just missed the start of that. Just catch the tail end of it. But yeah, so unfortunately,
I think he tried
to
tried to flick spin it or do that, but it didn't quite pan out the way that they wanted it to.
No, it didn't. Probably because that tyre was off the bead and off the rim. The diff probably didn't want to play games there and went in the single spinner mode.
Very quickly on Twitter, I think it's Josh Balicki says, "What am I watching right now?"
Rick Newman.
You're watching Rick Newman punch out a lot of fumes from underneath that car. But this is the combined sedans at Mount Panorama. I hope you're enjoying it, Josh.
Yep, the Riverwalk Constructions combined sedans, and you can see the oil pouring out of the back.
That's not good.
And that's very smart from Rick Newman, the 6-litre NASCAR built Ford Falcon AU. Oh, well done, Rick. Seriously, that's
some good
smart
parking.
driving.
That's some good parking right there.
Yeah, especially with his hands device on, his helmet.
Because you can't see much out of the rear of these cars, can you?
No, not at all. It is quite difficult at times. And especially with the hands device on too, Cookie, it really limits where you can look from side to side.
But Bryce Forward had a great race. Final lap for Bryce Forward.
So this car is about to lap as well, Cookie. We probably should mention that very, very quickly. That's car number 321, Graham Haddo. It's a Mazda RX-2 with a 13B turbo, 5-speed with a 3-link rear end installed in the vehicle. Now, he's been wanting to do this with his brother for 20 years. They've always wanted to race at Bathurst together, and unfortunately his brother passed away, and he decided that he would come up and do it himself. And it says here at the bottom of his notes, RIP Greg Haddo, my brother, my mate, this is for you. So a bit of a touching tribute.
That's
there
good.
For his
That's great. I'm glad you mentioned that as well. So that's a great story. That it was good to give him a mention as well.
So here's Bryce Fullwood now on his last lap through Bentley Forest Elbow. And
he's backed
from
off.
Start to finish, every session, P1.
Oh no, absolute domination this weekend at Bryce Fullwood of the Riverwalk Constructions combined sedans. He's backed off big time, a 2:19 last time around. And for this lap, I think he's going even slower as well. But what a great run, what a great drive from Bryce Fullwood. Such a dominant drive.
Remembering he's only 18 years of age as well. This is our future in motorsport, ladies and gentlemen. This could be our next Jamie Whincup, our next Mark Winterbottom, with only time will tell. But this is great experience for him. 3 wins in the bag at Bathurst, at Mount Panorama, at the Liquid Molly Bathurst 12-hour, the Riverwalk Constructions combined sedans, and that's Bryce Fullwood across the line with the checkered flag.
Well done, Bryce Fullwood. And this is where we play the waiting game, because we got 15 seconds back to second place, and that's going to be Joshua Smith. A little bit of damage on the front of Smith's car at the moment.
Yeah, wow, and Terry Wahoon's caught right up to the back of him as well.
Has.
So he's made contact with someone or something there in that last lap. But well done to Smith too. He's driven a great race to finish in second.
So that is the top 3, Bryce Fullwood, Joshua Smith, Terry Wahoon, Tony Evangelou has just come across the line, and we are anticipating Stephen Lacey, who is the category manager with his wife, of course, of the combined sedans. He's just crossed the line in 5th. And then it's going to be Jim Policina and Stuart Inwood. Good recovery from Stuart Inwood, considering he started from had that drama in race 1 with the, what was it, the master battery. a link from the master battery. Basically, it cut off all power to the car.
You better be careful how you say that. But yeah, that's very, very true. So that's not good, but at least they fixed it.
Yes.
And he's had a pretty good finish to the weekend, Cookie.
Yes.